Thank you for joining us on Nashville Business This Week again. We're back for our Executive Profile segment with Jay Clarke. Jay is president of Magazines.com. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about Magazines.com. What is your business? What does it do?
Well, Magazines.com is a subscription agency. We're an online subscription agent. And as an agent, we stand in the middle. We stand in the middle of publishers on one side and consumers or subscribers on the other. We represent about 850 different publishers. We offer 1,500 different titles, both consumer titles and business-to-business titles. And we offer these titles to the hundreds of millions of people that use the internet on a regular basis.
What was the genesis of this business? How did this get started?
Well, I suppose that you could say that Amazon.com sort of created what we know as the mainstream e-commerce space. And we as consumers cut our e-commerce teeth buying things like books and music and even travel. And magazine subscriptions are in that next phase, if you will, of e-commerce. And it's just a very convenient way to browse and to shop and to purchase for magazine subscriptions. A lot of consumers don't realize that if you go to our site and type in sports, for example, we have 50 different titles that will be be served as a result of that search. And so we provide a very easy way for the consumer to browse those titles, learn more about the titles, and ultimately subscribe to the titles.
Magazines.com was founded in 1996, not that long ago, but in the internet, that was the young crazy days. How did things differ then in terms of what the site looked like, what the back office work looked like, and how's it changed over the years? Well,
we're now on our third generation of our website, and we are the oldest and the largest online subscription agent. And there has been quite a few changes. We think of our sales as being in three buckets, if you will. One bucket, the first bucket, is the affiliate sales. We have 9,000 affiliates that hyperlink to our site and bring potential subscribers to Magazines.com. When a consumer subscribes to a magazine having come through one of those hyperlinks, we pay that affiliate a commission. The second bucket of our sales is search engines. We work with Google, Overture, Yahoo, AOL, MSN. And those search engines, likewise, they bring shoppers to our site. And then the third bucket of sales is what we call direct. We're fortunate enough to own a great URL, a very intuitive, easy to remember name that we have built a brand around. And we get a tremendous amount of type-in traffic. Consumers that go to their browser, they intend on shopping and subscribing to a magazine, and they take a chance and they type in Magazines.com, and sure enough, what they find is a magazine store. Additionally, as we've built that brand, we have more and more repeat traffic. So a couple of things have changed since 1996. One is that we have built a brand and we are getting repeat traffic. Consumers have come to know Magazines.com and trust us. Secondly, there's been a tremendous shift in what we call search engine traffic. 2 or 3 years ago, even, most of the search engine traffic was what we call free. Some people call it natural or organic, where your listing on Google was totally derived naturally by that Google search engine spidering your site. And although that kind of traffic still exists, it's giving way to paid traffic, what's called pay-per-click, paid search traffic. And that's been a tremendous shift. It's taken quite a bit of effort to manage that. We now have 100,000 different keywords that we bid on, and we're adjusting bids on a moment-by-moment basis on those keywords.
Yeah, that's something that's really emerged over the past year and a half, really, in terms of Google competing with Yahoo and Overture and those kinds of guys. Yeah, you've got these great relationships in place with these major companies. You've got big reach on the internet. Obviously, you're still a pretty small company in terms of employees. Is everybody doing 3 or 4 different jobs? How are things divided up?
We do. We have 29 people on the payroll today, and the beauty of the internet, the leverage of the World Wide Web, is that you can do a lot with a little. We have great people on staff, very talented, very hardworking, but our sales to employee ratio is extremely high, and that's typical for e-commerce. We have our own call center that we double shift 7 days a week. So we run our own 1-800 number if a consumer needs to talk to a live person, and we manage those abandoned calls and those wait times to a very short period. And then we also provide email customer care, where you can send an email question and we try to respond within 24 hours.
What does this mean for traditional magazine marketing efforts, the little cards that fall out of magazines saying, discount subscription, or the letters you receive asking you to subscribe? How does that affect the old ways of doing things?
Well, that's a great question. You know that we've passed acts like canned spam that limits your ability to market on the internet. We've passed the do not call list, so now publishers are more constrained in their ability to provide outbound telemarketing. Direct mail oftentimes doesn't have the returns that it once had. And so creative marketing, like online marketing, is really what's hot in marketing magazines. The internet space is the fastest channel in terms of growth, the fastest growth channel for marketing magazine subscriptions. We happen to be the market leader. We think that we've got about 50%, by our own estimates, about a 50% market share of the online space.
Go ahead, Bill.
What was appealing about this opportunity for you? Because your background was finance, correct?
That's right. I spent 12 years with SunTrust out of college, and what appealed to me about this was to be a part of something very exciting, that being the internet. The growth was explosive. It was an opportunity to do something entrepreneurial. And it was an opportunity to live someplace great like Nashville. I'm a native of Atlanta, and I moved here from Atlanta 4 years ago. My family and I really enjoy Nashville, and we just think this is a great place to raise a family.
You just mentioned it earlier. You just acquired a direct marketing company that kind of dovetails with what you do, Magazine of the Month. Tell us a little bit about that and what you're looking to do with that acquisition.
Sure. Magazine of the Month Club is based in Washington, D.C. We closed that acquisition about 60 days ago. And Magazine of the Month Club is almost a misnomer. They were founded and still today sell the clubs, but they have made somewhat of a transition and sort of expanded into selling magazine subscriptions as promotions in conjunction with Fortune 500 companies. And so Magazines.com heretofore has sold 1 and 2 subscriptions at a time to a consumer. Magazine of the Month sells thousands of subscriptions through one single promotion, usually in conjunction with a Fortune 500 company like a Levi Strauss or a Radio Shack or a Hewlett Packard, just to give you an example of some of our clients.
It's a little different angle to come at it. Yeah.
Correct. It's almost like a wholesale and a retail channel. The retail channel being the website, the wholesale channel being the Magazine of the Month Club out of Washington.
Well, this is very interesting.
Excellent. Yeah.
Jay, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
me.
you coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks. Stay tuned. We'll be right back to wrap up the show.